Good night, teacher. My name is Erika Laika. I am going to present the APE Guide 2 about literature review of laws and number of people with special needs in the Ecuadorian educational system. The index. We have international laws, national laws, international statistics, national statistics, and laws and statistics of youth, Universidad Técnica de Ambato. So in this presentation, we have the complete or almost the complete information about the investigation. So in order to start, according to the investigation, carry out several files of international laws were found that protect and safeguard the rights of students with disabilities. Among the files found, the following are mentioned in the first instance. The document Transforming Our World, the 9030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, where its section, the new agenda, numeral 25 in short, they commit to providing everyone with an equitable and quality education at all levels without importing any type of class or distinctions. Later in the same document, it is emphasizing the sections Sustainable Development Goals, Objective 4, ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all, numeral 4.8 and 4.5, where in summary it is proposed for the year 2013 to eliminate disparities of all kinds, in addition to ensuring full access through adequate facilities for each student. In the section, so in another document that I found, that is the Code of International Educational Laws of the year 2070, in this section, Convention of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, page 22, article 24, focus on education, numeral 1 to 5. In summary, the state's party recognize, include, support, carry out, help, and guarantee all persons with disabilities their access and educational development. So in the next section, that is the standard rules of the equalization of opportunities for persons with disabilities, the page 47, in its statement, education of people with disabilities, rule number 1, numeral 8, and rule number 6, numeral 129. In summary, the society and its institutional parts focused on education are encouraged that these teachers, directors, and students to raise awareness, recognition of equal opportunities, acceptance, and regulation of projects and programs without any distinction. In the section 7, that is duties and responsibilities of higher education teaching personnel, in the page 198, numeral 34A, in summary, the personal and individual duty to teach effectively without any type of distinction is guaranteed. In the section 5, technical and vocational education as preparation for an occupational 5, page 250, numeral 29, where in summary, the available opportunities is guaranteed without any distinction. Finally, in the section Shaping a New Vision of Higher Education, focus on the equity of access, page 247, article 3, where is accordance with article 26.1 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Admission to higher education is ensured based on their personal efforts and without distinction. Now we have national laws. After analyzing the international laws, I will mention the national laws that promote educational access to people with disabilities. In the official registry for the Ley Orgánica de Discapacidades carried out by the Asamblea Nacional del Ecuador in the section 3 of education, page 11. From Article 26 to 41, we have 10 articles were found that are focused on the educational file in accordance with their right to education, inclusive education, special and specific education, the teaching of mechanics, means, forms, and instruments of communication, accessibility to education, co-participatory education, ethnic and cultural inclusion, scholarship, bilingual education, and dissemination in the field of the higher education. So, international statistics of people with disabilities who access education. Of the 7.753 billion of people in the world, in the United Nations Disability Statistics Program, studies that around 50% of the world's population lives with some type of disabilities, of which 2 to 4% experience significant difficulties in the access of the system. The global prevalence of disability is higher than previous estimates from the WHO. In the educational sector system, 90% of children with disabilities in developing countries don't attend schools, says UNESCO. On the other hand, the global literacy rate for adults with disabilities is as low as 3% and 1% for women with disabilities. Finally, in OECD countries, students with disabilities in higher education remain underrepresented, although their numbers are precise the same program that is OECD. So, in the previous image, we can have that the type of survey response. So in this picture, we have that this provides the background of survey of response based on the 3 roles of parent, teacher, or person with disabilities. 40% of the respondents were teachers for learners with a disability. 41% were parents of a child with disability, and 30% were persons with disabilities. The next figure, the figure number 2, the picture number 2, we have types of disabilities by type of survey response. So illustrates this picture illustrates the percentage of each disability represented by the type of survey response, as evident in the data. Approximately 1/3 of parents had a child or children with learning. That is the 30%, and all communication 30 disabilities, that is the 30%. The most common disability that teachers engaged with were visual and communication, is about the 41%, and for the communication is 39%. Persons with disabilities, on the other hand, represent a more even distribution across the various types of disabilities. 24% had a disability affecting mobility, 18% had learning disabilities, and 80% had hearing disabilities. National statistics on people with disabilities who access education. Of the 17.64 million of population in the world, until October, 12,476,316 people with disabilities were registered in EPO. And the most frequent type is physical, according to the Instituto Nacional de Estadística y Censo. In the educational sector, 65% of the children and young people with disabilities of school age inserted in the educational system attend public educational institutes. 90% of municipal establishments 11% go to trust institutions, and 5% study in municipal schools. So, after analyzing the statistic data, it can be concluded that in Ecuador there is a higher percentage of people with physical disabilities who access education. In addition to the fact that both laws and physical reforms of the institution are more focused on complying with and creating programs that meet their needs. This is followed by people with visual disabilities and then by people with hearing disabilities. Now we have IUTA laws. In order to obtain the following report of laws and informative tables focused on the IUTA, I had to make a report requesting the corresponding information. La Universidad Técnica de Ambato, as an inclusive higher education institution, tends to equalize opportunities and promote the educational and social integration of people with disabilities, and with the purpose of facilitating the entry, permanence, and completion of higher levels career, which allow access to work for people with disabilities in the country to achieve their real social integration with equal opportunities. It is challenge for the Universidad Técnica de Ambato to build an increasingly inclusive educational institution, and the most important condition is that society in general, the university community in particular, have an attitude of acceptance, respect, and appreciation of difference. Include students in the educational system and ensure that they learn as much as possible, whereas the young people of a given community learn together regardless of their personal, educational, social, or cultural condition. So, la Dirección de Bienestar Universitario, en la presentación de políticas de igualdad de oportunidades como respuesta educativa para la inclusión de estudiantes con necesidades educativas especiales asociadas a una discapacidad y no asociadas a discapacidad. There are 3 chapters where there are 8 sections containing 50 articles. So, in the first section, tenemos la responsabilidad de la Dirección de Bienestar Universitario from Article 1 to 5, where it is focused on the objectives and facilities applied to the project, sin limits. In the second section, responsabilidades de las facultades en las unidades académicas, is focused on the easy studies granted to students through knowledge of their disability in addition to their academic flexibility. Then, in the third section, responsabilidad de los docentes, from articles 10 to 20, where it is focused on the responsibilities, academic programs, emotional support, academic support are granted to everyone in the same way, in addition to the teacher preparation from the application and adaptation of their class. Also, in the section, responsabilidad del estudiante con necesidad educativa especial asociada y no asociada a una discapacidad, from Article 18 to 25, where it focused on the responsible application and accreditation to the Sin Limits program, taking into account the proper entry into the system and associate program based on the legal and official data. Then, in section, responsabilidad de la familia del estudiante con necesidad educativa especial asociada y no asociada a una discapacidad, from articles 26 to 27, where it's focused on the accompaniment and necessary help granted by the family or representatives. Now, in the section, responsabilidad del personal administrativo, from Article 80 to 31, focus on ensure the same class and level of service. As also in the section, responsabilidad de los compañeros de clase, from Article 22 to 27, where his approach is based on his college, their treatment, understanding, and support among them and for them. In the second chapter, responsabilidad del Centro de Idiomas para estudiantes con necesidades educativas especiales asociadas y no asociadas a discapacidad, from Article 28 to 45, focus on the delivery of reports, application of academic flexibility, and fulfillment of teacher needs and students. Finally, in its found in a chapter focused on the physical education empowerment, from chapter 46 to 15, where it's focused on the total inclusion of all students who want and apply in the program. So, Utah statistics. In the following table, there are 5 categories, and in them are listed 40 types of disabilities, where none have a precise focus on language. So, the approximately 16,000 students, approximately 20 students are attending the academic program with approval level specific to their disabilities. Thank you, teacher. It's all.